E36 is the popular car at the moment because I think the E30s have gone sky high. So everyone wants to have the next best thing. So, but the E36 M3, the 3.2 litre motor, even the 3 litre motor, are just such a sweet thing. But there's nothing tricky about them. It's really going to be one of those modern day classics.
Well, welcome to a new Dave's Classic Garage Tours video, and today I'm at German Auto Haus in Melbourne South. Pretty self-explanatory what their specialism is, so let's go inside and see what they're up to. It's the one to have, isn't it? 300D.
So they say. I think the cars at the moment are the 300 diesels and any of the 123 wagons. They seem to be the hot thing at the moment.
Well, I've got a TE 230 wagon.
Yep.
At home, but yeah, paint wise, definitely it's parched.
Unfortunately, most of these cars they got to a point where great family car in its day, but then it was passed down generation to generation, and the care factor became less and less. Yeah. So to find a half decent one of these is quite unique.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, my TE, it's got such patina.
Patina, I love that word.
Yes.
It's a great word.
It covers all bases.
It does, doesn't it?
But it's so nicely uniform in its and the patination and whatever that's formed over it. It's like, you may as well leave it as it is. The only problem is, the woman that owned it was 4 foot nothing, and she'd been egged various times on the roof.
Never saw it.
So I've got these horrible egg rotting edges on my.
Eggs don't leave a great imprint, do they?
Yeah.
No.
So what's this one in for?
So this one's in for a little bit of roadworthy work and a tidy up. We've done some interior work on it to sort it out because it's the carpets have been a bit worn out.
Right.
We are going through the process.
You don't the new carpets?
So it has. Trying to find the original carpet has been a great test. So we've sort of managed to find sections. Or pieces of new carpet and just make good what we can make good out of the original.
Not been into Mark Kosovich over in Wales, in the south of Wales?
No. They're actually our trimmer locally, Peter Blackman, had still a section in here in Melbourne, so we're able to make good what we can. We're still waiting on some trim bits for the dashboard and so forth to tidy it all up, and another steering wheel. But it's a unique one with a sunroof, so we've still got a little bit of work to do tidying that up. But
every W123 I see in the UK always had the Zavera.
Oh, the timber, the wood, the Zebrano.
Yeah. It's only taxis and Australian delivered cars that I ever see
with the plastics.
With the plastic.
Well, and the 300, I think the 300 diesel.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, some of the later cars came with the timber.
Yeah. I've got timber in mine. Yeah, I've got timber.
I'm just thinking that because we just sold a 280E, which basically had the walnut timber, which was quite nice.
Wow, yeah.
So look, like everything, it's a matter of finding bits and pieces. We've managed to find a donor car, which we're going to remove the bits we need for this car.
Yeah.
Purely
what about the old
dashboard?
Rocking horse poo to
look, I just find it too difficult, and look, we can go down the road of having it re-covered, re-skinned.
Yeah.
The only thing is it doesn't have the same match in grain, which you either like or you don't like. Most people now are almost accustomed to the carpet on the top. Yeah. For the exercise to redo it all, and it never quite matches the same. And I think in this one we'll probably leave it as it is. Just tidy up the trim bits we need to.
And the difference in pre-81 and post-81, is there much?
Not really. I mean, if it has electric windows, it'll be the window switches went from a chrome base surround on the switches on the early ones to the no chrome base, and they were a smaller switch. There were some changes through the interiors, but not really. They were pretty much the same all the way through.
Yeah.
Just the engine, obviously, choices that you could have.
Yeah.
So on the early ones, you had the 280E, which was the M110 twin cam engine. The diesels were pretty much the same all the way through.
Right.
Unless you were in some countries where you got the turbo diesel, which is a rare one.
Yeah.
These ones obviously 0 to 100 in 60 seconds or something. It takes a while, but
Yeah,
super reliable. Like they just never had problems. They were
And super safe as well.
yeah, exactly.
That
I
famous,
think from what I remember, they were one of the first cars with that safety cell.
Absolutely.
Designed.
Do you know that South African advert?
The guy and his family.
recreated the crash
Yeah.
on the bloody cliffside, isn't it? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
don't know if I'd want to be in that car though.
No.
Imagine it is the evening of October the 14th, 1988. Imagine you are Christopher White driving home. You're extremely tired and not watching the road properly. In some accidents, no car could save life. In others, only the safest car could. Christopher White survived this 100-meter plunge for two reasons. He was wearing his seatbelt, and he was driving a Mercedes-Benz.
It's funny, isn't it? How you can't find a petrol one of these in America. It's all turbo diesel. Yet
Yeah.
you don't associate America with diesel whatsoever.
No, diesel. You never thought that they needed to worry about
Yeah.
the price of petrol.
Yeah.
I guess it was just the reliability and the economy.
Yeah. That's another one. Beauty. Tell us a little bit about your business here.
We've been operating since 1993. We've specialised in just the German makes and models of car for all those years, specialising in the Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Volkswagen, Audi and now Porsche brands.
And you've moved premises.
We have recently moved. It's been a big move from Cremorne. We've been there since the 1993 year, and we've moved a few shops in that time within the area. So moving down to Cheltenham has been a big change for us, but nonetheless it's been quite a nice transition. So we're enjoying it down here.
Right, what's the age range of the German cars that you
Well, I mean, we sort of deal with everything from probably the 60s and 70s through to current, but we have a tendency to love the older Mercedes, BMWs, and even the Porsches. They're a good thing, and there's a lot of love going back into them. People are sort of obviously realising that there's something special about them and willing to spend the money.
Okay, well, talking about love going into something that probably was totally overlooked, the Bauer. 3 Series behind you.
Yes.
What's going on there? I believe that might be in for.
Yeah, that's getting a little bit of a makeover. It's had its engine rebuilt a couple of years ago, and now we're looking at sort of the body and the interior. So yeah, and it's like everything. I mean, the cars are becoming a classic. So now that they're sort of at that point, trying to find all those parts that we need for them is getting a little bit harder. But the Bauer is an interesting car. It's sort of a car that was made pre the convertible era of BMW. Bauer was from what I believe a coach company, or they specialise in this kind of modification. But the benefits to the Bauer is that they're still structurally a lot stronger.
Less body flex than a.
No body flex because you retain obviously the rigidity of the roof. The benefit is you can have the hard top on with the roof folded back on the back section, or have it as pretty much a convertible.
So values of the Bauer, rising enough to justify that the spend that's going to be going into this?
I think that's always a tough question. I mean, look, the value going into it, as long as you start with a decent car, I think you're always going to be ahead of the game. But it's more down to a personal choice. I think people like the uniqueness of it. Some people love them, some people hate them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like I say, it's generally looked down upon in the past if it's not a proper convertible and what have you. But it certainly seems to be, you know, people going, yeah, that's actually quite interesting. Now, people are looking for something different. There's plenty of.
My belief is the more that you take a model of car off the road, the more unique they become. So then people sort of look at them and go, like yourself, you know, you say, well, that's actually quite a unique looking thing, and it's quite good. You know, I think the benefits of being able to, you know, in this sunburnt country with the roof staying on, but having the back folded down, it's quite a unique thing.
And yeah, how does that roof?
So the roof on this one's off at the moment because we're actually going to restore the roof section. So the back part is a cabrio style, so it basically clips into those but folds up, and it has its rear windscreen or rear window.
Yeah.
So when you want to use it as a...
Is that fabric at the back?
It is fabric, yeah. So it's the same fabric that they use on the roof section,
yeah.
but it's that's a hard shell.
Right.
So then this folds down, and it has a cover that goes over the top of it. Then you have, obviously, the open air in the back. To remove the hard top, there's a screw section under here with a couple of clips that you basically release the top. The top will then slide off, and there's a place in the boot that it slides into.
Oh, you don't have to leave it at home then? Yeah,
no, you don't have to leave it at home. So you've always got it with you.
Yeah.
Again, it's you know, and you can still mount roof racks if you like, because it's still got the roof gutters.
And was there many brought over to Australia?
I can't remember the numbers exactly. There weren't a great amount. I think they sold a lot of the 323s here. This is actually the 325E model, so it has the 2.7 litre, what they call the ETA engine.
Yeah.
It's quite torquey and very economical.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's we'll pop over this 300 SE. This looks in pretty good nick.
So this 300 SE is a 1986, owned by a young guy who's into his Mercedes. The family own a couple of them. They've got this one. They've also got a W123, and this is his daily drive at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's a very clean, well-presented vehicle.
And that's the later engine. This is
the M103 engine, so it's a 3-litre engine.
Take us through underneath.
So we're just actually replacing some of the fuel components. So in the fuel tank, there is a gauze filter, which obviously over the many years of fuel, it does have a tendency to block up. So replace that gauze filter in the tank, new fuel lines, fuel pump and filter.
And wow, crikey!
How
many miles is this? How many kilometres?
I'm not sure. I'm not really sure exactly how many it's done, but you know, it's stood the test of time.
Yeah. Any parts in there?
No, everything's pretty original. You know, one thing about this era of car, and it's not just Mercedes, but you know, Mercedes, BMW, Audi and Volkswagen probably weren't as known to be this kind of well, I don't know what the word.
How much engineering's gone into
the
it?
engineering, the
development, and
the people's car versus obviously Mercedes-Benz and BMW. But you know, the longevity of these cars, they just hold up. They drive well. You know, as long as you maintain and replace bushes and things that need to be done like any other car, they just drive exceptionally well. Yeah. Even in today's terms, they still drive well.
Sure, definitely. Well, probably a lot nicer and softer than than current cars.
Correct.
Crashing you around and whatever. But is that new paint on it, do you think?
To be honest, I'm not sure. I don't think so. I mean, it's hard to know. It looks pretty original to me. Yeah. The front still obviously shows the work. It's you know, it's got a few little stone chips here and there.
Yeah, to be expected. But crikey, there's nothing. Those little brows would normally have a little bit of pit in them, don't they?
Yeah.
But
I'd say the bars probably had paint.
Yeah. It's kept away from the curbs reasonably well.
It's a tidy example.
And you say all Because I was looking at that one on Greys with the velour trim. You didn't get velour trim over here.
No, it was definitely not a mainstream option for us here. So the odd cars that you do see would have been tick the box choice, and I believe it's probably more expensive than leather. That was probably the deterrent. And most people in Australia probably preferred the MB-Tex or the leather option rather than the velour.
If you've got velour, you don't burn your bloody legs.
Well, I don't think people thought that much about it at the time, did they?
These,
Well, I just think maybe these cars were always garage, so they never sat in the sun that long.
my work certainly wasn't. By the state of my dashboard on my...
That's right, exactly. Early dashboards never that great.
Yeah. Was this Astral Blue?
This is Estral Blue.
Estral Blue.
So Estral Blue.
Astral. It's the Astral Silver.
Estral Silver, that's exactly right. So Estral Blue which is actually one of my favourite colours. I must say it's the most appealing colour. This one is in for electrical gremlin that we think has been instated by some of the trackers or alarm systems that they've had fitted in the past.
Did you find a mountain of differing
wiring? The wiring has been removed for most of it. We're still chasing down.
Yeah.
There's still, we believe, something that's creating a problem.
Yeah.
This is a 90. It's about a 97, 96, 97. 3.2 litre, straight six, naturally aspirated. I think they were 321 horsepower. That's what they come out with.
Yeah.
In a convertible, which again is people's choice.
Yeah.
It's a great car.
They're certainly popular. The E36.
E36 is the popular car at the moment because I think the E30s have gone sky high. So everyone wants to have the next best thing. So, but the E36 M3, the 3.2 litre motor, even the 3 litre motor, are just such a sweet thing. I mean, they just rev really well. There's really bugger all trouble with them. Maintenance is quite simple like any other car, so there's nothing tricky about them. I must say that I love the 5-speed and the 6-speed. They're both quite good. People talk about the 3 litre being back in the day, because I was back at BMW in those days too, and they talk about the 3 litre being too harsh, and that's why they brought the 3.2 out with the 6-speed and made it softer and so forth. But both cars in today's terms are great cars to drive.
Any issues with the hood?
Well, I think like any convertibles, I mean, the more things that are moving and having to be, controlled to move and so forth are always prone to issues. But no, look, the 36s, I think, again, as long as you have all the straps in place and all the adjustments are made, they're very reliable. Yeah. The only problem that they get is that the straps that are there to help them fold become weak or frayed or broken, so then they tend to sort of be sloppy in operation. That's when you start having problems and difficulties. But a very simple system that works quite well.
Is there any sort of lubrication that the owner can do by themselves at home?
Really.
No?
Not really. Just keep them away from under trees.
Right.
That's always the best advice with any car, whether it be sunroof or non-sunroof car too. I think trees are the biggest killer of drainage problems and all that kind of behaviour.
Yes, the beauty, lovely car.
But I think it's just it's really going to be one of those modern day classics. Like
Absolutely.
Even like the way that the braking systems, the suspension, the steering, they turn, they stop, they go. For a car of these things came out in about 94 in a 3 litre, so probably even earlier overseas.
Yeah.
They were just ahead of their time. Yeah. The big thing today is turbochargers, and that's easy power. To get good power out of a naturally aspirated engine, I think these guys really did show how it's done.
Yeah. And obviously, people now look at it. You've got the E46 and that over there, but the electricals and whatever start getting a bit more complicated and what have you.
Look, it's funny things like control modules are known to give trouble on any car, but I think if you introduce, like in this case, in this car here, that you introduce immobilizers and trackers and things, and people don't fit them properly, that's when you start having electrical problems. Traditionally, I don't have that many issues with electronics on this era of car. Modern day cars, we have a lot of issues because everything is electronic. You're talking about TVs and navs and all that. We're just prone to having issues with something going wrong with them. But this era of car, the electronics, I think, were pretty good.
Right, cool. Okay.
Yeah, not as susceptible to issues like we see today.
That's it for this time from German Auto Haus, but as you'll have seen in the background, there's plenty more to look around, so make sure you hit that notification bell for lots more German RADwood classics to come.
If you love this video, you're going to absolutely love this one. So click on the screen and watch that, and I'll see you in the next video.